Cinco de Mayo is a holiday that celebrates the date of the Mexican Army's May 5, 1862 victory over France at the Battle of Puebla during the Franco-Mexican War. It is also known as the Battle of Puebla Day. While it is a relatively minor holiday in Mexico, in the United States, Cinco de Mayo has evolved into a commemoration of Mexican culture and heritage, particularly in areas with large Mexican-American populations. Here on A Matter of Facts, we'll show you 10 least known facts about Cinco de Mayo in today's video. So sit back, hold tight, because something unique is coming your way. Cinco de Mayo is not Mexico's Independence Day. This is the most common misunderstanding made about the celebration. It's not a celebration of Mexican independence, it's a celebration of an important military victory. Independence from Spanish rule happened 50 years before the Battle of Puebla. Independence Day in Mexico is celebrated on September the 16th. Mexico Independence Day commemorates the Cry of Dolores, which started the Independence War against Spain in 1810. This Grito de Dolores occurred when Roman Catholic priest Miguel Hidalgo y Castilla rang his bell to call to arms and get the Mexican Independence War started. Every year, the president reenacts this event during Independence Day, using the same bell that the priest used in 1810. Cinco de Mayo celebrates a short-lived victory. The Mexicans did win the battle, but they did not win the war. Napoleon later returned with a stronger force. He seized the Mexican army and installed the Emperor Maximilian I as a ruler. But the good news is that the French Empire lasted only 3 years, from 1864 to 1867. It was this year that the president Benito Juarez claimed Mexico City back and installed the new government. Cinco de Mayo's victory was actually important to the US too. Keep in mind that the Battle of Puebla, which Cinco de Mayo celebrates, occurred in 1862. At the same time, the US was involved in the American Civil War. Many historians believe that if the Mexican army had not defeated the French in this battle, Napoleon would have gone on to aid the Confederate States of America. Had this happened, it could have had a serious effect on the war. Cinco de Mayo is also not a federal holiday in Mexico, although the day is celebrated in the city of Puebla with military parades and a smattering of other festivals in the street. Cinco de Mayo is not considered to be a major holiday in the rest of Mexico. In fact, Cinco de Mayo is a much bigger deal in the United States, particularly in places with large Mexican communities. In Mexico, the holiday is not recognized at the federal level. In other words, it's pretty much business as usual on Cinco de Mayo in Mexico, since banks, stores, and just about everything else remain open. Cinco de Mayo became popular in the US thanks to political and marketing moves. Until 1933, Cinco de Mayo was unheard of in the US, except in California. In that year, President Franklin created a good neighbor policy to improve relationships with Latin American countries. Before that, starting in 1863, Mexicans in California would celebrate the victory. Cue in the Chicano movement in 1940s, and by the 1950s and the 60s, the celebration began to cross over from California to the rest of the country. Companies, realizing the marketing possibilities, started promoting the celebrations in the 1980s. Beer companies were one of the main promoters. To this day, there are more than 150 events held, mostly in cities with the largest Mexican-American populations. The largest Cinco de Mayo celebration was the Los Angeles Fiesta Broadway.
Fiesta Broadway took over 10 blocks in downtown LA today. Angelinos turned out in droves to take advantage of a free concert and activities to entertain the entire family. There was food, carnival-style games, and Latin American musical guests.
For many years, the LA Fiesta Broadway was the largest and wildest Cinco de Mayo celebration. In 1992, it reported an estimated 600,000 attendees on the street. There were so many people celebrating Mexican heritage with crafts, music, and lots of beer and tequila that some serious disturbances took place in 1994. Before the pandemic, the celebration went from covering 36 blocks around Broadway to about 6 blocks around the Civic Center. Other parties have taken the lead on being the largest celebration. The Denver Cinco de Mayo Festival boasts around 400,000 attendees annually. The US and Mexico are not the only places that celebrate Cinco de Mayo. Cinco de Mayo celebrations do not only happen in the US and Mexico, other countries celebrate this date as well. In Canada, pubs serve Mexican food and drinks that day. A famous Canadian celebration is the hosting of skydiving boogie, which includes incredible acrobatics. The Cayman Islands have an annual air guitar competition at the local Hard Rock Cafe. It is celebrated on the date, but it's hardly a celebration of Mexican heritage. However, there is a lot of drinking, American cuisine, and live music. Cinco de Mayo is one of Western celebrations held in Japan to appreciate the culture, cuisine, music, and fun. The celebration takes place in Tokyo with a large festival. America did not directly help during Cinco de Mayo, but did assist Mexico to expel the French. This is definitely a Mexican celebration, and it's great that Americans gather to celebrate the rich Mexican heritage. It is important to note that Americans are not entirely uninvolved in the historical events around Cinco de Mayo. In 1865, through the selling of Mexican bonds by Mexican agents in the United States, Mexican President Benito Juárez administration raised between $16 million and $18 million for the purchase of American weapons. Between 1865 and 1868, General Herman Sturm acted as an agent to deliver guns and ammunition to the Mexican Republic. In 1866, General Philip Sheridan was in charge of transferring additional supplies and weapons to the Liberal Army, including some 30,000 rifles directly from the Baton Rouge arsenal in Louisiana. You've probably never eaten the authentic Cinco de Mayo dish.
PX5's Andrea Borba on the authentic Mexican dish, which is a closely guarded secret sauce.
The special for the Cinco de Mayo is today is a mole poblano and a carne asada.
It's a sweet and spicy sauce with over 25 ingredients, sometimes 40, depending on who you ask.
Great food is one of the most anticipated activities during a good Cinco de Mayo celebration. You see tacos and enchiladas, but the traditional Cinco de Mayo dish is none of those. Invented in the late 17th century, the mole poblano is a bitter chocolate cream with chili peppers and other spices. In Mexico, it is served with chicken, and they usually eat it with rice. Although it's not very popular in the United States, some authentic Mexican restaurants offer it on their menu. The color of the mole sauce may be a little intimidating the first time you try it, but it is a delicious meal. The celebration has its colors. Those colors are the same ones found on the Mexican flag, red, white, and green. The red represents the blood of thousands of heroes that have died protecting the land. The white stands for peace and unity, while the green is a representation of hope. Hey guys, we come to the end of the video. Are you surprised by any of the 10 facts about Cinco de Mayo? If so, let me know in the comment section below. Also, if you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Until then, we'll see you next time.